Chapter 6. It's a date. It's finally happening. You're in your room, frantically freshening up for your first day with Brad. But you have a problem. Hey, I forgot to ask, what should I wear tonight? And follow-up question, where are we going? You call out through the door and Brad calls back from the living room. It's supposed to be a surprise. You process this for a moment, trying to decide if you can pick out an outfit for such a dire condition. But surveying your closet, you're immediately filled with a level of panic more appropriate for a horror movie protagonist. Okay, so I actually do need a little context, like any at all. You hear Brad laugh, which calms you down a little. Okay, I was planning to take you to a drag wrestling match. Drag wrestling? That's, Yeah, no, I didn't know that was a thing. No way. I wouldn't have known about it if my buddy hadn't introduced me last year, but it's exactly what it sounded like. So, violence, but make it camp? Exactly. It'll be like nothing else you've ever seen, I promise. I don't know, I've seen a lot of shit. Okay, so, what do I own that says, I know how to have fun, but I'm also making an effort for this date? Yeah, okay, dude. True colors. You would not catch me dead in a shirt like that. You put a colorful but flirty outfit together, and when you turn to look at yourself in the mirror, you immediately feel a surge of confidence. You look great. Everything's going to be great. You can definitely go to a wrestling match with a super fit dude and look totally competent. Did you say something? No, I'm just talking to myself. I'll be right out. You join Brad out in the living room where he is looking way too closely at your wall of framed photos. Just a friendly reminder that shutter shades were really cool at the time. I don't think they were ever cool. Popular, sure, but we all looked like idiots. What the hell is a shutter shade? Including you? Oh yeah, I just don't hang the evidence on my wall. Brad turns away from the pictures, mercifully missing a teenage pic of you with braces. He takes in the mix of colorful fabric and loose mesh of your top, gray gaze trailing down the open V of your shirt, and lets out a soft whistle. God, Dex, you look stunning. Oh, so this is okay? Not too classy for wrestling? No, you look like you could be one of the people wrestling is how it looks. I just say the right amount of classy to make everyone else jealous of my hot date. Oh, that's, you take a deep breath. Coherence can still be hard around Brad, especially when he's standing in your living room calling you hot. Thanks, is what I meant to say. No thanks needed when I'm just being honest. He never changes his shirt, isn't that nice? Our dates never change for us, but we have to change for them. The two of you arrive at a local wrestling arena where the crowd is significantly more colorful than you expected, and a lot. The community is clearly out in force, with plenty of people in drag or dressed to the nines. This man missed his calling for Aquaman. Ooh, I painted my whole body for this. It's way less bro-y than I was expecting. Somehow, the exact opposite, right? But just wait, these queens aren't afraid to throw down. The two of you head to a pair of seats in the middle of the crowd, where you wind up pressed against a girl with pink hair and someone else wearing a Crocs with a suit. It's the most flamboyantly space you've ever been in, or seen Brad in, and to your delight, he seems right at home. So I have to ask, have you ever done drag, or are you more of a spectator? Only once in college, which was a lot of fun, but it was seriously awful. And before you ask, no, there aren't pictures. Damn. A friend who knew her stuff helped with my hair and makeup, so I looked good, but I spent the whole time sweating bullets about whether my wig would fall off, and I lost 2 fake lashes midair. Oof, eyelash wardrobe malfunction, that's rough. What about you? I've, never felt like it was my style. Yeah, I get that. It's definitely not for everyone. I just know I'd get up there and immediately blue screen and no thoughts, head empties, and a fun vibe for a drag show. If anyone could make it work, you could, but I appreciate a guy who knows what he likes and what he doesn't. Do you know much about wrestling? I've seen a few matches on TV, and by seen I mean passively watch it because they were on in the background as Mateo and Jacob's plays. Gotcha, so you know all the ins and outs. I know a few of them, but this'll be my first time getting up and close with the subject material. I've followed wrestling forever, but I only recently learned that this existed. Now I go every time this venue hosts a drag match. Oh, it's that good, huh? Oh, the best, just wait. As if acting on his cue, the arena lights suddenly dim and the crowd begins to cheer. A spotlight in the ring lands on a man with bleached curls in a full leopard print suit, beaming up at the stands. Hello, San Francisco. Who's ready to get hot, bothered, and body slammed? I was born ready. Please welcome to the mat our reigning champion, Necro Nancy. The crowd screams as the goth queen, complete with black lipstick, slips into the ring and sticks her tongue out, revealing a piercing. Bad wolf whistles. Good midnight, my minions. And our challenger, please welcome Kiki Boots. Another queen comes in, and this one decked out in hot pink, and the crowd boos. She tosses her hair, or rather her glittery pink wig, haughtily. Oh, please, if that Hellfire knockoff is in my competition. Oh. What's with the hate? Necro Nancy's a fan favorite. She's known for the signature move where she mimics a bat's hunting technique. I'm sorry, a what the hell? And people enjoy that? You will too, plus Kiki Boots has a lot of love to haters. Her brand is Bitchy Femme. She's tonight's villain. Oh, so Necro Nancy is her hero. Got it. I mean, she's dressed as a goth. Why not? Oh, God help me. A bell sounds and the match begins. Necro Nancy and Kiki Boots circle each other, trading barbs as they look for an opening in their opponent's defenses. You're about to go down, you demonic diva. Oh, I hope so, darling, but not with you. Eventually, Kiki Boots manages to get Necro Nancy on her knees, holding one arm, until Necro Nancy swings around and gets on top, pinning Kiki Boots to the ground with her body weight. Forces of midnight, empower me with your will. Ah, Princess of Darkness, seizing power from the bottom. That's 2 points, folks. Yes! Sure, you got this, Necro Nancy. I bet you, don't even need to do the bat move. Dex, what are you doing? Of course she needs to do the bat move. It's her signature move. It just sounds like a lot. You're going to eat your words, all of them. As the crowd continues to cheer, Necro Nancy pulls out 2 black silk scarves. She begins to wave them by her sides. The crowd goes wild. The bat move. It's happening. I can't. Necromancy splays her arms wide, emitting a truly ear-piercing screech, and Frog hops onto Kiki Boots. Okay, that was pretty graceful, but I'm not sure it really sounded like bats. You're insane. This is the best. Suddenly, Necro Nancy pins Kiki Boots, rolls her eyes back, and still screeching wildly, and somehow her pitch is rising? Okay, I can see how it might not be for everyone. I gotta say, though, I get the whole wrestling hype now. This rules. Just wait, we haven't even gotten to my favorite part. Let me guess, when fans can help. The ref blows a whistle, Necro Nancy and Kiki Boots back off each other, heading to the coaches on the sidelines to grab water and a towel. And that's break time. You all know the drill. I'm looking for volunteers to come down to the ring and learn some moves from the pros. Kiki Boots and Necro Nancy wait, looking sweaty, but mildly less terrifying than they did in the full fight mode. This is what happens when Steve loses his When he loses his body, he really lets himself go. Let's see a show of hands. Who wants to learn how to grapple and writhe with the best of them? You're so distracted by the roar of the crowd that you don't notice Brad putting his hand up until it's too late. Us, we do. Oh, God. And there we go. Get down here, boys! Seeing the shell-shocked look on your face, Brad nudges you gently. Hey, it's cool with us, right? You no need to be nervous. The demos are always just fun. Nothing crazy. I'm, just nervous about looking like an idiot. In front of you, specifically. Brad reaches out to give your shoulder a squeeze. You could never. And look around, this is not a judgmental space. Clearly. You take stock of your surroundings, the extremely and partially shirtless crowd, the drag queen wrestlers who mimic bats. Okay, fine, I'm in. The two of you head down to the ring, and Necker, Nancy, and Kiki Boots descend on you both, now holding mics. Hey there, consenting victims. Oh my god, huge fan of you both. Yeah, I love the, bat thing. Oh, so have either of you wrestled before? You know I'm taking inspiration from One Piece, right? I'm just saying. Firm? No, maybe I shouldn't be up here. Brad grabs your hands and squeezes it briefly. A move that the queens totally clock. So does the crowd. If the cheers are any indication. Oh, girl, no way. Look at those pecs under the little mesh shirt. Now you can see why I wanted to show him off in the spotlight, right? Oh, yes, I'm taking notes. Kiki Boots literally pulls out a notepad, earning some chuckles from the crowd, but all you can think about is the proud, admiring smile Brad is giving you. Glad I decided to wear you outfit that cost more than my grocery budget. And thus you're an idiot. First things first, you'll both need a wrestling name. Oh, I've got this one. The Golden Ratio. Geometry reference? Obviously. Okay, we love nerds. We love math. And what about you? The Bean King. You know what, I got to thinking about a name, and I'm just flatlining in my brain, so yeah, sure, Bean King. Oh, let's give it up to the Golden Ratio and Bean King. Yeah! Okay, boys, we're going to show you a tight underhook. First, you want to wrap one arm around the biceps here. She demonstrates on Kiki Boots, who pretends to struggle and heaves a haughty sigh. And the other arm is on the neck here. Then you jump forward, drop to the ground, holding the back of that neck, and she drags Kiki Boots down to the ground, their upper bodies pressed together. Okay, I'm starting to see why Brad picked this as a first date activity. Now it's your turn, lovebirds. Please end me now. Brad shrugs out of his outer shirt, giving you a full view of his gorgeous biceps as the two of you square up in the ring. How do you want to do this? Not at all. I'll try the underhook. Filled with a surge of confidence, you take the dominant position, squeezing Brad's arm with your elbow and pulling his head in. Oh yes, grip that thing! Take him all the way down. Not the first time a woman's heard that. You jump forward and shift your body weight, managing to flip Brad onto his back and pin him down, still managing to hold on his neck. Brad's eyes darken. You experimentally scratch at the base of his scalp, causing him to shiver. What is he, a cat? Oh, nice technique, Bean King. Why the hell would they name us Bean King? Glad I could make a good impression. It just takes a few seconds to remember that you should stand up. Brad looks endearingly breathless as you hold out a hand to help him up. For our next and final move, let's try a simple pin. We'll show you how it's done. She and Kiki Boots drop to the ground, grappling gently with each other. First thing you should want to do is get your opponent on their back and somehow, like so. She grabs Necker Nancy's elbow and spins her around until she's facing down, then wraps an arm around her neck and holds her tight. Then apply your full body weight. Remember, your opponent's shoulder blades have to both be in the mat for us to call it a point. And so, make sure you're not holding anything back. Maybe hold some things back. Keep it PG-13, you know? You can feel your face heat up, and beside you, Brad chuckles. We'll do our best. You get back onto the mat and both fumble for the upper hand for a moment, spurred by the cheers of the crowd. Eventually, you wind up in a prime position to pin Brad, if you want to. Sure. You hook an arm around his neck, shift your weight forward, and you can feel one shoulder blade on the ground, but Brad is still pushing back. Resistance is futile, said the Borg. That's a loser's mentality. But despite the trash talk, you keep a firm grip and eventually feel his weight sink into the mat. That's a point for Bean King! You know what? Maybe losing isn't so bad. He smiles up at you, and it takes a second for the adrenaline-fueled brain to realize that he's talking about pinning him down, because that's what you're doing. You smile down on him helplessly until from behind you, Necro Nancy clears her throat. PG levels are rising by the minute, boys. PG-14, PG-15. I think we've overstayed our welcome. Grab Brad's hand and squeeze as you both stand up, and he grins again. And that's a wrap on the Golden Ratio in Bean King. Everyone, give it up for one more time for our volunteers. Whoa, these hotties are now my OTP. OT what now? Hell yeah. Or should I say hells yeah. Excellent work, boys. You both walk out of the ring to applause. Brad leads you to your seats, but it's slow going. He keeps turning around to smile at you. I know we're both all sweaty, but he's literally never looked hotter. Where'd his shirt go? The other thing, the outer one. After you retake your seats and the rest of the match passes in a blur, you can't stop thinking about how close you got to him. And when you might be able to make it happen again. Hey, I think Necro Nancy is going to do the bat thing one more time. Can we leave before they do it? Again? God help us all. I've got you. Brad playfully covers your ears. You see Necro Nancy assume her signature pose in the ring once more. You focus on Brad grinning. Beside you as muffled bat screeches echo over the crowd. And what seems like 100 years later, the match ends with one final bell. The crowd starts to trickle out, and you and Brad join the line towards the exit. You were right, that rule. I'm kind of bummed it's over. No, we're not. Well, the night doesn't have to be over, assuming you're hungry, that is. There are always a bunch of food trucks down the street on match nights. Great loaded nachos if you'd want to share some. You do happen to be hungry. I also don't want this date to end. I'm interested, but just to be clear, you're taking me out to dinner at a food truck? Why is this a question? Seriously! A really good food truck, and I'll have you know that I don't offer to share my nachos with just any date. Okay then, Golden Ratio, I'm in. Soon enough, you're sitting on the curb by the food truck, sharing an order of very loaded nachos and sipping on Diet Cokes. Can I just have a regular Coke, please? I didn't even get an option or a choice. However, those nachos do look good. You were right, these food trucks are incredible. I wasn't about to take you to some subpar nachos. As you both reach for another nacho, your hands brush. They give you a small, playful grin. Never thought I'd be having a Lady in the Tramp moment over a plate of nachos, but I'm not complaining. So, moment of truth, did you have a good time tonight? Brad, come on. That was the most fun I've had in forever. Good. I was pretty sure you'd like it, but if you didn't, I'd be bummed that I blew our first date. It was certainly an adventurous first date. The fact that he was worried about what kind of date you'd like is enough to send you reeling, but you get your brain back online through sheer force of will. Okay, my turn. To ask a classic first date question. Come on, you must have a mental backlog of them too. Oh, yeah, on my worst first dates, you'd think I was an investigative reporter. I'll try to get on your level, but let's start simple. Who was your first gay celebrity crush? Hmm. Probably Taylor Lautner. Who? You were Team Jacob, huh? Oh. Honestly, I couldn't tell you a single thing that happens in those movies. I kind of was preoccupied. I'm sorry, what? Oh. I mean, okay, I guess. So what about you? My first celebrity crush was Prince Zuko. Hold on. Listen, I had to Google. It's the guy from Avatar. Anyway, never watched it, by the way. Orlando Bloom. I feel like that's a lot of girls' first choices. I mean, I'm gonna go with Wesley Snipes. Listen, he was pretty badass in Blade. This is pretty badass in a lot of other movies, but Blade was pretty top-notch. I love when he did Marvel, Deadpool vs. Wolverine. Pretty cool. So you're more of a vampire fan than a werewolf fan, obviously. I'm watching Wesley Snipes fight vampires in body armor or a tank top fan. I knew you had good taste. Okay, slightly bigger question. What are the qualities you look for in a partner, or at least in a good date? Your mind immediately goes to all the things you like about Brad: his compassion, steadiness, surprising humor, how much he dotes on his dog. But I can't just say all that. I don't want to freak him out on the first date, Dex. Someone reliable, kind, nice to service workers. Oh, so the same lines as her book. Okay, got it. Service workers. So does that include baristas? Yeah, I think it does. Good to know. Throughout your conversation, the nachos have been slowly depleting. The next time you look down, there's only one left, and Brad spots it too. Wanna wrestle for it? He grins wickedly, and you swallow hard. I think wrestling on the street for a nacho is a little beyond my skill set. That or aren't you two poor hobos? Listen. This is my nacho. No, it's mine. Alright. He nudges the taco tray towards you in a conciliatory gesture, which, of course, makes you want to go out chivalry. I mean, he's the one taking on the date, right? So I'm just gonna, pass it back. You push the tray back towards him, and this time he takes the last nacho, his fingers skimming against yours. I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but I owe you one. How about you owe me another answer to a date question? Do you take all your dates out for wrestling and nachos? What's your weird date story? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What the hell is up with that question? Don't ever ask me that question, because I don't see myself anywhere in 5 years. It's a blank slate. It's a void. Brad laughs as he takes another sip of his Coke. Or to just pick one, but this one time I went out with a girl who had a lot of questions about my job. Weird questions, like, do I have enough free time? Do I want to be my own boss? How are those weird questions? Those are normal. Eventually she got to the heart of the issue, which is that she'd get a commission if she convinced me to sell gummy vitamins. Oh, okay, then I could see that, okay. Ah, the classic pyramid scheme on the first date. That's how I once wound up with 20 bottles of hair loss cream. And yet, you're still not your own boss. Bummer. Well, maybe once I sell my last bottle. You take another sip of your own drink, watching Brad watch you in a brief but comfortable quiet that settles between you. It strikes you that he's probably enjoying himself as much as you are, and your stomach feels lighter at the thought. Nacho ratio out of 10, go. 9. You take that back. I'm docking a point for the half of the tray I didn't eat. It's only fair. I asked if you were okay with sharing them. And I was. More nachos just earned an extra point. He shakes his head and takes a sip of the Coke, then wipes a bit off of his mouth, and you let yourself stare a little. It's a date. Enjoy the view. It's part of the deal, right? Okay, next question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm wrapping the cord around my throat as we speak. I see myself... I'm gonna go with ruling the galaxy. Why not? He nods, like this is a totally reasonable thing to say. Hmm. Would you be a benevolent ruler, or should I train Elvis to attack now? Well, obviously I'll have to punish my enemies. Ah, that's a given. But I kinda think you're safe. Ah, well, good to know. Unless you break my heart, and then, Elvis won't be able to save you. 5 years does feel kind of crazy to think about, though. For a moment, the eternal question of, oh god, what am I doing? Am I wasting my 20s? Settles in your body despite the comfort of Brad sitting beside you. I just have no idea what comes next for me, Like, I like the cafe, and working there has been great, but I worry I'm letting myself get stuck, like the clock is ticking and I've been behind from the start. Brad shakes his head. Like, life's not a race, Dex. More time passing just means more experience, right? If you like working at the cafe for now, that's a valuable data point to gather. That's great. And whatever comes next will be great too, till you figure out what you want long term. You're still gathering data. Yeah, until you hit like 40 and you're still gathering data. Oh, you think about this for a second, letting the words percolate. That's surprisingly comforting. I appreciate a guy who can turn my random job into a data gathering and life experience. I figured that would resonate with you. And if I've learned one thing, it's that life is just a series of experiences. I guess all I'm really looking for is someone to share experiences with me. That's how you build something that lasts. And I could be very down with co-ruling the galaxy, just throwing that out there. Ah, damn. You got on board with my life goals pretty quickly. We must be soulmates. He takes another sip of his drink, not quite glancing at you. Or at least we know we aren't soul enemies. Good starting place, right? Ah, yeah, I'd say so. All too soon, that's a red flag. The two of you stand up and brushing gravel off your pants and tossing your trash in a nearby bin. Were you sitting on the ground? As you head towards Brad's car, he takes your hand and it's enough to set your brain in overdrive. How do I freeze this moment forever? Is there an app for that? Yeah, it's called your brain. Brad tugs on your hand and it's enough to snap you out of your head and plunge you back into the rush of being near him. So we could call it a night here if you want. I'm still sore from the cleanup earlier, not to mention Wrestling 101. He pauses and your heart rate picks up speed. Or we could go to the next stop I'd planned. Say more? I have a friend at the aquarium who owes me a favor, and he might hypothetically be willing to let us in after hours. So it'd just be you, me, and the fishes? Is that allowed? Not technically, no, so no pressure. But if you've never seen the place at night, I think you'd love it. It's something special. This whole night has been special, but your heart lifts as the thought of it lasting just a little longer. We're at the aquarium. You know he meant the no pressure part, but when Brad hears you say yes, his face lights up with a grin. Awesome. It'll be worth the trip, I swear. Brad drives you both outside of the aquarium, where you head straight for a back door marked staff. This is where the trespassing happens, right? It's not trespassing if you have a buddy, and my buddy is en route. Sure enough, within a few minutes, the back door swings open and a guy pokes his head out. Hey, Gabriel, thanks again for the assist. We'll be out before midnight. The man waves and heads to a parking lot, and Brad holds the door open for you with a grin. Sweet. To be honest, I thought we were going to have to pick that lock. Your faith in me is staggering. We just call tests for that. When you get inside, you pass through the deserted staff area and head to the central exhibit area where you can see wraparound walls of fish tanks. Man, I hope the big jellyfish isn't asleep yet. He and I have some catching up to do. Friend of yours? I'd rather talk to the octopus. You could say that I've been here more times than I can count, honestly. That's cool. What's the draw? Well, I'm a sucker for all animals, if you hadn't noticed, and growing up I went through a massive fish phase. Like you were big into fishing, or more like I had a fish tank so elaborate that I gave the rock formations their own street addresses. My parents are both animal lovers too, so I got to build my own mini aquarium with minimal resistance. I have so many questions. Like, what's your favorite fish? I'm a big clownfish guy. They're colorful, classic, but elegant. Finding Nemo must have been huge for you. It blew my tiny mind. You have no idea. Brad leads you past some crab exhibits, eventually stopping in front of a huge tank where a large jellyfish dances gracefully in the currents. There's my boy Dex, meet Spider-Man. A jellyfish named Spider... Bro, you could have at least done an octopus. I'm mad. Spider-Man. Listen! Oh, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, right? I do not attribute Spider-Man as a jellyfish. You have let me down. I want to end this date now. He's cute, but I'm not sure I see the resemblance to his namesake. Exactly, right? There was a contest to name him, and unfortunately for Spider-Man here, a 9-year-old boy won. The 9-year-old boy's stupid. Listen, I'm the type of person who would literally say that to the child, but nicer. And Spider-Man here, much more of a conservationist. Jellyfish don't have brains, so no, but that does make him a great listener. Spider-Man bobs peacefully in the tank, floating in front of you, both with silence that somehow feels non-judgmental. Okay, I can see the appeal. Brad gestures to a nearby exhibit of colorful pufferfish. Meanwhile, these guys may not look it, but they're the second most poisonous vertebrae in the world. Pretty cool. Yeah, I love them when they get all poofy. Tougher than they seem, apparently. You eye a pufferfish skeptically as it swims by, looking like a bloated porcupine. They typically only bloat like that when they feel threatened. Just FYI, 411, whatever you want to call it. Cool might be subjective, but it's cute that he's so into this. You smile as Brad waves to Spider-Man in the tank. Wow. It's cute that you're so into this. They should have let you name the jellyfish, Mr. Superfan. He grins and winks, which still makes your heart do that little stuttery thing in your chest. Yeah, it's called a heart attack. Or a heart palpitation. Thank you. It's nice to see you be appreciated. I would have gone with something classy like Reginald or Edwin. On second thought, maybe Spider-Man got lucky. No. I would accept those two over Spider-Man. Brad keeps you moving through the aquarium at a decent pace until you reach a shallow pool full of stingray, starfish, and miniature octopus. Yes! Good news, this is a hands-on exhibit. Also, yes! Wait, how is a stingray a hands-on exhibit? Steve Irwin? He wiggles his fingers playfully, and you're really normal about it, so normal. Come on, I'll show you the right way to pet the miniature octopuses. You walk warily over to where he stands at the edge of the tank, which is open at the top. The beady eyes of an octopus lock onto you. Listen. All hail Cthulhu! There's a wrong way? Yeah, a lot of people just squeeze their heads. They're harmless, I promise. They just like to get a little attached if you let them. Here, I'll show you. He holds out a hand. Despite your hesitation, that's not an offer you're prepared to refuse, so you wind your fingers through his. Okay, but, for the record, I prefer petting animals with fur. My insurance doesn't cover octopus bites. They don't really bite. Or octopus suction cups, or whatever. That doesn't even sound like a real thing. It is. I guess there is a my dog ate my homework energy to it, huh? Don't worry, I promise you're in good hands. He squeezes your fingers with emphasis and you feel your resistance crumble. It looks like you're petting an octopus after all. Brad shifts his grip to your wrist and lowers your hand slowly into the tank where you can see the octopus speed towards you. First thing to know about these little guys is they're like puppies. They love being pet and friendlier than they look. Still holding your wrist with one hand, Brad loops his other hand around your waist, pulling you closer, almost absent-mindedly. Meanwhile, you are hyper-aware of everything your bodies are touching. Remember to breathe. Don't pass out. Faceplant in the octopus tank. Yeah, because then it's going to be a face hugger. And now, he guides your hand towards the back of the octopus's head, if you can call it that, and your fingers brush surprisingly soft skin. Just avoid stroking the arms, or it might latch on you. Otherwise, they're pretty much harmless. Like, slimy golden retrievers? He laughs, the motion shaking your body for the first time. You wonder if Brad was using the octopus as an excuse to touch you. I guess I'm officially an octopus stan. Brad pulls his hand away and checks his watch, sighing. I know I told Gabriel it wouldn't stay too long, but there's one more spot you have to see before we go. I want to take Mini Cthulhu with us. He leads you over to an empty tank in an unlit corner, where a sign informs you that the exhibit is closed. You wanted to show me an empty tank? That's not exactly what we're seeing here. He nods towards the glass, and then you see it. Both of your reflections side by side, overlaid atop the rippling water. It's the guy standing in front of me. Oh, isn't that sweet? Time skids to a halt as you process his meaning, and in the meantime he hooks a finger in your belt loop and skims another along your waistband, which really doesn't help. It kisses you once, feather-light, and you smile against his lips. You're so corny. And I think you like that about me. Maybe I do. Brad just laughs and kisses you harder, tugging on your bottom lip. You open your mouth on instinct, gasping when his tongue slips in. Your knees buckle a little, and you wind up slightly unsteady. I'll clutch his forearms, his waist. You splay your hands against his waist, flexing your fingers slyly near his midsection and drawing a sharp gasp from him, which, of course, makes you do it again. God, Dex, are you trying to kill me? Oh yeah, didn't I tell you I was even deadlier than a pufferfish? He laughs, his voice going a little husky. You're remembering that is unfortunately so hot. He leans in again, and your brain turns to blobfish like mush. He turns to you to face your reflection in the glass, and you get a clear view of how wrecked you look. Encouragingly, he looks just as breathless. The moment you wrap your arm around him, he leans into you, warm, solid, comforting, despite the cool air of the aquarium. In the reflected glass, you see him smile. He also slips his hand into your back pocket, which makes you lose all brain function for at least 30 seconds. He just starts drooling. He's like, you're an actual human octopus. Brad throws his head back, laughing at that one, and you've never been prouder of yourself. Guilty as charged. So, other than having to pet an octopus, how was your personal tour? It was amazing, octopus and all. Brad fist bumps the air, and you groan. That doesn't mean I ever want to touch a slimy fish again. That was technically a cephalopod. Oh, the marine facts just don't stop, do they? But I'm glad you didn't regret the trip. The two of you head out of the aquarium, and Brad lets you back to where his car is parked. Let me drive you home. It's the least I could do for a pro wrestler. All hail Bean King. He smiles and grabs your hand. You swing your arms back and forth, feeling playful, and he interlaces your fingers. My new favorite wrestler, and the competition's not even close. The sun has long set, but you still feel warm and light as a feather as you climb into the passenger seat beside Brad. Seems like that's just a side effect of being around him. All too soon, you're outside of your apartment, abruptly reminded of the first time Brad dropped you off here. He parks in front of the building, but he walks you all the way up to your front door. Before you go, what's your final verdict? On the date? It was, pretty much perfect. I almost don't mind the whole flooded cafe prelude since it turned into a night of this. Grab his hand again, impulsively squeezing it at once. This was seriously the best first date I've ever been on. Nothing even comes close. Same here. The last time he stood here, you wanted so badly to kiss him, but you had no idea where things stood between you. This time, though, he leans in before you can want it too desperately, and you smile against his lips. Tone down the happiness a little. I'm trying to do something here. My bad. I'll do my best. You kiss again, or 4 more times. Who's counting? Eventually you go up for air, and Brad immediately captures your hand again. One more question, but it's an important one. Would you be interested in a second date? You send a silent thank you to whatever propelled Brad into the LG that first day, and then you answer the most unnecessary question you've ever heard. Obviously. Congratulations, we've completed that chapter. Without further ado, if you did enjoy what I do, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Head down the description, plenty of things to check out there, ways to support, be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. So, the dates were a little different, but a lot of the commentary was a lot of the same shit. And, you know, again, it was probably the closest we got to differentiating between her story and this one. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, right? It's I don't like covering the same thing twice, right? I know a lot of you have been like, "Hey, why don't you do Freshman again?" or "Hey, why don't you do this again?" And at one time I tried, but as a person who just I don't do many things over and over again unless I 110% enjoy them, right? Um and no offense, but doing the same identical story that's 90% the same, it's just something that I may be real with you. It's kind of exhausting. So I'm gonna ask you, and let me know in the comment section below. But do you guys mind if I just sit this one out? And by sit this one out, I mean I just either upload this with no commentary, so you guys can at least enjoy it. Um, or do you guys mind if we just hiatus this book and I cover her story? I'm more partial to her story. I kind of enjoy that a little bit more, as you can tell. Um, I'm just, again, I just get tired of reading the same shit. Like, we could do it later, like delayed or something. And I'll come back to it if you guys want, but I'm just noticing a lot of you also aren't tuning in. Like, I'm serious. Only a handful of you are actually watching this stuff. So I'm looking for your feedback. Otherwise, if you want me to keep doing the at least within a few days or maybe even the same day, let me know. Again, I'm looking for your feedback. What do you want? You guys are literally the only reason I'm doing this content in the first place. Otherwise, I would pass on this entirely for doing like Romance Club or hell, a lot of other games right now. It's middle of September right now. I'd be doing like spooky games or whatever. Or just chilling. I'm gonna be honest with you, working on some projects or whatnot, working on other things. I'm just saying. So again, I need your feedback. So anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you all later. Peace out.